you guys want to stay up to date with my exclusive videos, make sure that you click the bell on the side to get notified. Here's the video. Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Bonner here, Overtime Athletes. I have my man here, Andrew Pickwell, professional dunker. I had to ask him a question, okay? So, as you guys know, my goal was to reach a 42-inch vertical jump, and I was able to actually achieve a 44. One thing though, I could always dunk, but I was never good at like the crazy ones. So one of my goals for 2017 is getting late, is I wanted to windmill dunk before I hurt my ankle. And I started talking with him, and he mentioned, that was one of his go-tos. He's really good at it. So I had to ask him, what was the, how could you coach me now? Teach me a tip of your approach, or how you learned how to do such a clean windmill dunk.
Well, I'll go ahead and take it from an approach of a basketball player, not a dunker.
Okay.
So most dunkers are going to be throwing lobs, and this is mainly to emphasize the arm swing because you don't have a ball in your hand. So as a basketball player wanting to windmill, probably the main mistake that's made is trying to windmill too early. So remember, you want to engage those arms. That's what creates all the thrust. So when you've got the ball here and you go up, you don't want to start windmill until you're probably halfway up off the ground. So a lot of guys will come in, like Chris, my man here, he's a Dominique Wilkins style jumper. He'll go left, right, like that, okay? Versus like a Vince Carter, this is right. Vince Carter would be right, left. So if he's gonna be a left-right jumper coming in with the ball, some mistakes some people make is they're already windmilling as they're coming off the ground. It's gonna look kind of funky. What you wanna do is you're actually gonna take that ball up to the net and practice touching the net, and then using your core, keeping your core tight, windmilling as hard as you can. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, when you're coming up, you're bringing that ball back. You're bringing that ball back behind your hips. You're not, a lot of people you see when they first start windmilling, they'll take that ball and try to go around. Once that does, that creates your core off balance, and you're gonna start rotating. If you come right towards your target, which is the goal with the ball, and jump with the ball up, and once you're off the ground, you windmill that thing behind you. You're going to rotate that body and keep your center of gravity balanced, and
So it's a big emphasis on, obviously, when you're in the air doing it. Because here's my problem. When I started practicing, I told you, and we just talked about it with the other one, is I was lowering the hoop so I could learn the movement. It's a technical movement. You have to keep doing that particular. I had to get that motor pattern down. I'm starting from a base. I'm starting wrong, because just like you, all my dunks are mostly either catching or throwing one. And I get it now. I don't know why that never clicked to me, is I obviously use my arms so much. And that's 100% how I jump, because coming from the combine, when you do the broad jump or you do the vertical, it's all about arm swing. But when you're playing basketball, and if you guys want to do this in the game, you have the ball in your hands, so you have to. And like you said, I'm left, right, so I have to be up in the air and then go ahead and initiate.
If you're already windmilling on the ground, you're losing all of your thrust. You're not even gonna be able to touch the rim.
Right, because you're throwing it down already.
You got to get up. You got to get up in the air as hard as you would on any other dunk.
Wow.
And then that's when you're building up your core. Once you're in the air and you've got a good enough jump, for Chris around high 30s, 40s, with the ball in his hand. That's when you found a good jump. That's when you can take it up, touch the net.
Bring it around.
Yeah.
Got you. And just to mention real quick, and not to extend this too much, but your like forte, one of your other biggest ones off one foot is between the legs. Between the legs, and that's the one you entered the contest with, right? That was your opener or your finisher?
That was my opener.
That was your opener. Yeah. And somebody who wants to put it between the legs, with a 1 foot, could you have any kind of little tip on that? Because maybe that's something they start too early as well. Because to me, even doing a layup like that, I'm like, damn, I don't know how some of these guys do it.
Right. Another thing with, going East Bay off 1 foot, the same problem I was talking about with the windmill. They're trying to go between the legs too early. You see them coming up, going between the legs before they already jump. You got to get that 30, 40-inch jump, before you start taking that ball through. What I like to do is obviously throw the lob. What helps me is, to secure the ball, is to grab it first with two hands, throw it down, versus catch it with one hand. What a lot of people do wrong is they try to catch it here with one hand and they lost it because, they don't have big enough hands, or they can't, cup the ball down through. So.
Okay, got you. So it's the same thing, get a big enough jump.
Yeah.
And then to really have to focus on putting it through the legs, bang.
Yeah.
Like do that a bunch of times in the air and then focus on taking it to the hoop.
Yeah, for people who are wanting to start doing tricks, I mean, really, you got to be as sport specific as possible when it comes to jumping. So do your training regimen, and then you can go out, whether it's in your backyard, and lower the hoop and work on your movements. But you know, really what you're training when you're lowering the hoop is actually your core, and you don't realize it, because to be able to jump up in the air and right after that stretch shortening cycle we're talking about, to be able to take the ball, a counter movement back down, that creates a lot of core stability, and you're really training that the whole time. So that's super important.
That's huge. That's huge. I got to be honest with you, this is something I never even thought of. So I really appreciate that,
for sure.
especially in the air. And I think a lot of times, what I'm trying to do is I'm thinking in my mind like I could jump out the damn gym, but why can't I do it when I'm doing this? And it's purely because I'm stunting myself. By it's physics. I'm literally, as I'm getting in the air, I'm throwing myself back down.
Right.
That's crazy to think, man. I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate that.
No problem, bro.
I hope that helps you guys out, man. That's awesome. I didn't even think about that. Yo, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in increasing your vertical jump or becoming an overall more explosive athlete, go ahead and sign up for my advanced vertical series. It's actually free, where I send you lessons each day for the next 5 to 10 days, basically covering everything that you need to be able to get a higher vertical jump. I'll see you inside.